What up guys, and welcome to another ProGuides video. CSGO has been around for almost 7 years now, and in that time there's been a lot of misinformation about how to play. Thanks Reddit. With new players joining the ranks of CS every year, they want to know how to get better. But the internet isn't always the best place for getting accurate advice. Luckily for you guys, we gathered a ton of information from global elite players to tear down all the common misconceptions in CSGO and learn what it means to be a high-level player in Counter-Strike. So let's dive right in. The first one is, I have the most kills, so I am the best player. Now there are times when the player with the highest score is the one who is being most useful, but it's not always the case. You could have the highest kills, but not end up helping your team win. Let's take a look at an example. Let's say the enemy team was on an eco round and went to your bomb site and you have a full buy. The enemy has no armor, they're coming at you with nothing but pistols and a plucky attitude. Suddenly you're 4 or 5 kills above your teammates. Your stats look great, but that round was pretty much guaranteed. These were basically free kills, but will you be as impactful as a player against a full buy? Let's take a look at another example. You're a terrorist, you have an op, and your team's attacking a bomb site. The attack doesn't go your way, and now you want to save that op for the next round. You get 2 or 3 kills as the enemy tries to hunt you down, but you still lost the round. Sure, your score is looking better, but those kills aren't much to brag about. When it comes to CSGO, things aren't as cut and dry as more kills equals better. So instead of worrying about how many kills you're getting, look for the best way you can contribute to a round. That could be through kills, but it could also be through many other things too, like using your utility to set up plays for your teammates, or maybe you even call a strat for your team to follow. Or you anchor a bomb site on your own, delaying the enemy for your team to rotate in. For 40 minutes, you and 4 other players are a team. You win as a team, you lose as a team, and your kills don't really matter, especially in higher level play. The second misconception is you should play at a certain resolution. CS has a reputation for being played at the lowest settings possible in order to get the highest FPS. When it comes to resolution, what you'll hear a lot is that you should be playing on a specific setting. The truth is, no resolution is better than any other. Whether you're a 4:3 old schooler or a 16:9 widescreener, each resolution has its pros and cons. It's about finding one that you are most comfortable with, one that makes you perform the best. The reasoning behind 4:3 resolutions lies behind older players like GetRight and NBK who swear by these archaic resolutions. Newer players think, hey, they're pros, they use 4:3, maybe I should too. But these guys are used to older versions of Counter-Strike like 1.6 and Source. That's back when 4:3 was the standard. These are the resolutions that they've used for thousands of hours. Their playstyle has been molded to them like a trusty gaming mouse. Some players, like Swag, prefer the larger field of vision they get from 16:9 resolutions. Others, like Simple, enjoy the larger character models of a stretched 4:3 resolution. And some players like to play 4:3 with black bars because the game is smaller on their monitor. As CS is adopted by newer generations, we're seeing more and more 16:9 resolutions being used by players and pros alike. Just ask Rez or Shroud. Nay, he still plays some CS. Does this mean that 4:3 resolutions are getting worse? Of course not. These newer players are just becoming more comfortable with 16:9. And the third most common misconception is throwing grenades will win you the round. We've all seen the tutorials and the pro matches. A team will use grenades to cut up a map and overpower the enemy. But is throwing the actual grenades enough? It will land in the same place and do the same job, so it should have the same result, right? Well, the answer is no. Those grenades were just one part of a bigger plan that the team used to win the round. And if you don't know every step before and after the grenades, you're not going to get the same result. Learning grenades is vital to improving your play, but it's just the first step. Look at why those grenades are being thrown. If a grenade is used to force an enemy to change positions, you have to be aware of that beforehand. That way you can predict where he's going to move and intercept him. The classic example of bad grenade throwing is on T-side Mirage. Your team throws smokes on A to block off jungle, stairs, and ticket. You've seen it a million times. It's what everyone else does, so surely you win now. But too many players forget that the CTs can react to those smokes in any number of ways. They could stand firmly on the site, forcing you to fight them before getting control, or they could use their own grenades to trap you around Tetris. And even if your smokes keep the CTs out of the site, what do you do next? Knowing where to position and how to play the post plant is just as important as knowing how to toss a smoke. Grenades are only a small but important part of winning a round. By all means, you should learn them. Just make sure that you learn the rest of the game alongside it. The fourth most common misconception is that you'll never get good by playing matchmaking. The matchmaking service that's built into CSGO is an excellent learning ground for the game. It's where you should start your CS career as a new player, where you should learn to play. Outside of CSGO's own matchmaking service, there are third-party services like ESEA and FACEIT. For a price, these services offer higher quality servers, a more thorough anti-cheat, and depending on who you ask, better players. People will often say that hitting Global Elite doesn't mean anything compared to ESEA or FACEIT. But honestly, that is complete nonsense. Too many newer players buy into that and avoid CS matchmaking altogether. Climbing the ranks of any matchmaking service can be easily done using this little secret: playing consistently with like-minded players, and that's where the third-party services come in. The likes of FACEIT and ESEA obviously have smaller user bases than all of CSGO, so their communities are also smaller. Each player has a viewable account where you can see their stats and history. This leads to more accountability, which in theory makes for a happier experience. It's absolutely true that the best players use these services, but it's not using them that makes them the best. And you won't just become better by using them. That's because the best players are the ones who aren't just individually skilled, but who know how to work with other people, how to work within a team. But the real draw of these services is that they offer cups and leagues where you can compete as a team. They encourage you to find 4 other serious players and make a team or a clan, if you're an old-timer. Some compete for prestige, others for cash, so with a prize on the line, it's sure to draw a higher level of competition. These services are for those who want to take the next step in CS, but you need to walk before you can run, and that's what matchmaking is for. So, if CSGO matchmaking is where you can learn to play the game, then third-party services are where you can learn to become a great team. And our fifth misconception is that you need to deathmatch for an hour before playing. Okay, sure, if you're super rusty and you haven't played for days or weeks, then it's definitely a good idea to spend some time getting back into the groove. But we hear comments from players asking why they aren't improving when they spend hours and hours each day practicing their aim. So, there's a couple of things wrong with this way of thinking. First of all, CS is so much more than just your aim. If that's all you're practicing, then you're in for a rough time, and your improvement will be very slow. You need to also look at stuff like your movement, grenade knowledge, and decision making. These elements determine how well you play just as much as your aim. Imagine you're sneaking up behind some super sniper. You know you can't beat him in a straight up fight, but wait, what's that on your belt? Oh, you have grenades. You could position yourself outside of his view, toss a flash, and then molly from behind cover. All the aim in the world won't help him when he's blind and on fire. The better player will usually beat the better aimer. Secondly, burnout is very real. If you treat your practice as an obligation, then you'll start to resent it. At the end of the day, for a vast majority of players, CS is not their job. It's a hobby, it's fun. You can still be serious about wanting to improve without putting so much pressure on yourself. The moment you stop enjoying your practice routine, then just stop it. Deathmatch practice is there to embed and refresh your muscle memory. The spray pattern of key weapons, flicking across the screen to snap at an enemy's head, how you move in 1v1 duels, but it's up to you to say when you feel confident in those skills and then move on. Either to practice something else or to dive in and climb the ranks of matchmaking. And on to our final misconception. What I'm doing is right because I saw a pro do it. Players love to copy what the pros do, but is it always the right move? In our opinion, definitely not. Context always matters. Just because what they did works in their situation doesn't mean it will work in yours. There are so many variables in a round, the chances of your round and their round being exactly the same is incredibly low. Some of the pro plays that you see will work a lot of the time. For example, your initial positioning in a round or where they throw an early smoke, these things will have the most consistent results because there hasn't been much time for more to happen. But the longer the round goes on, the more things can change. There are only so many opening moves available, but with each turn, the possibilities increase dramatically. The most famous example of this in CS is Bogdan's Law, which states that an op should be given to a low health player since they won't survive a rifle duel anyway. You'll often see pro players toss their op to a low health player. So given this logic, should you always hand over the op? Of course not. It depends entirely on your situation. Just like copying a pro's settings, mimicking their moves won't get you the same results. You need to look at the whole match and figure out what is best for you. Do this and you won't be copying someone else's path to success, you'll be carving your own. These are just a few bits of misinformation we see thrown about the community. It's understandably frustrating for new players because there's almost never one good answer. CS is all about learning from your experiences and trying new things, building a library in your head of what works and what doesn't, and over time that develops into what we call game sense. The best way to learn is to get out there and build that library, or to go to ProGuides.com where you can instantly match with a professional CSGO player who will tell you everything you need to know to climb the ranks. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're interested in getting better at CSGO, then please check out ProGuides.com where we have great courses with pro players. Or if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then please click like and subscribe to our channel for more. Thank you guys so much for watching and good luck in your next few games.